speaker A is Brock.
I'm Barack Corby, and have you ever been on a bike ride with your family or friends and got a flat tire? Well, this is a very common occurrence. It happens especially on mountain bikes when you're riding in the woods. It happens on road bikes as well, but it's more common on mountain bikes. So today I'm going to show you how to change the tube out. There's a few tools you're going to need. You're going to need a tire tool, which is just a little metal and plastic lever. You're going to need an air pump, and you're going to need a replacement inner tube. The first step you're going to do is go to the opposite of the valve stem. Valve stem's here. We're doing this so it relieves slack, so it doesn't make the bead as tight. We're going to take the tire tool, put it underneath one side of the bead, pry down. And once we get it pried down, we're going to just work in small steps all the way around. And it starts to get easier. Get one side of the bead all the way off the rim, and then you can take it, and usually you can just pull and get it off, or sometimes you have to use the tire tool, like the same way I did on the other side. Pull it off. You want to look at the rim, make sure there's nothing sharp, nothing poking through that can cause the flat. And then we want to take the inner tube completely out of the tire and set it aside. We're going to feel the inside of the tire, take our fingers, run through the whole tire, and this is just to check for if there's any thorns, glass, or holes, something sharp sticking through that would cause the flat. And I like to go through it and do it the opposite way in case something's laying down. Once you don't feel anything in there, you take the old inner tube and you're going to simply pump this up, and if it's going to be punctured, you will hear the air leaking out of it. So you pump it up, and these, you can pump them up and they'll actually get about 5 feet around if you keep pumping them up, and that makes it easier to find the hole, which this one doesn't have a hole in it. So we're going to pretend like this is the new inner tube. And the new inner tube is going to be in a box more than likely, and it's going to be really compact. And when it's all folded up, there's no air inside of it. So you're going to want to take the new inner tube and actually pump it and put a few pumps of air in it, and that way it makes it easy to work with, not so skinny and flimsy. And then we're going to take the tire, and some tires are directional, and it'll say or have an arrow on it, point which way it goes. Take it and start putting one side back on the rim. And you want to use baby steps and work your way around. That way you don't try to do too much at once and make it difficult for yourself, which I already made it difficult by having a broken wrist. So once you get the one side of the bead on the rim, like so, it's going to be hanging halfway off. You want to take the tube that you have pumped air into and line it up with the valve stem hole. Put the valve stem in place, and then you just want to start tucking the tube inside the tire to make sure it doesn't fall off. Tuck the tire in, starting at the valve stem, and just work your way around. And you want to make sure that there's no tube sticking out of the tire at this point, or that will cause a pinch flat. So we get the one side on, that side's already on. We're going to start working the other side on, and you want to start at the valve stem now. So just work in little steps all the way around. Starts to get tough at this side, and this is where the tire tool comes into play again. And you can actually take the tire tool and use it the opposite way. So put it under the rim, pull up, and just work that bead on there. And then it'll just make a, settle in, and you want to take it and look through the hole, make sure there's no tube sticking out, and just go around the whole tire, make sure it's all up in there well. Take the valve stem, push it up in there, and this just ensures that the tube's all the way seated inside the tire. Pull it down, and we're going to be ready to pump again. I got all this information from being a bike mechanic for 5 years at Cycles Unlimited, and I used a book called Zen, The Art of Mountain Bike Maintenance, as a reference guide. So there's different style of pumps. This one, you put onto the valve and just clamp, you're ready to pump. And you can do different air pressures depending on what you want to do. Different lower air pressure is going to make a smoother ride. For a mountain bike, you never typically go above 40 PSI, and then on a road bike, you can actually go up to about 120 PSI. So I'm just going to put it probably at like 30 right now. And then pull that off. And that is how to change a flat bike tire.
(6:22). Okay, next.